Yeah, hi, it's the 13th of September 2018 at 9:45 a.m. Before I begin, I want to clear up, I don't hate women, I don't even dislike women. I have women friends, increasingly less and less, but it's narcissism is what I don't like. I can't stand it. I've been plagued by it my whole life, and for most of my life I didn't even know what it was. And that's the thing that I suspect most of you are walking away from. You just can't stand the attitude, the hypocrisy, everything about it, the lying, the deception, the game playing, the manipulation, the whole act. And you're trying to be honest, truthful, sincere, genuine, all of those things, and tell it the way it is, and you're dealing perennially with an act, and you just say, "Oh, stuff it, I've had enough," and then they'll get the authorities to really crack down on you when you can't handle it anymore, so that your life becomes even worse. So you've just said, "No, I don't want it anymore. I don't trust them. I don't want to know them. I'll just go and be by myself," which is about right. Now, the thing is that look, I don't know whether this is right or not, okay, but I've heard it from many sources and many vids. That's where most of my knowledge about narcissism has come from. I mean, apart from my life experience, but I didn't know what it was at that stage. But in the last few years, there have been that many vids, YouTube vids, done about it that explain the whole situation, and it matches up close enough to the truth for my liking. So, I wouldn't say I'm a deep expert in it, but I know a bit about it. And what they say in vid after vid is narcs hate being alone. They'll do anything to piss you off and to really ruin your life, make you miserable. But at the end of the day, they hate being on their own. I mean, you only have to look at the more narcissistic societies, countries, where narcissists, Southern European countries particularly, actually the poorer countries, you find that they're very, that they have to hang together, large extended families, that sort of thing. Yeah, and it tends to be, they promote their children are the most wonderful things on the planet, and then we in the West sort of adopted these attitudes over the years as well. But when I grew up, there was none of that. I was just an only kid. Well, I had sisters, but they were much older than me. But there was none of this, no praising whatsoever. It was nothing like it is today. So, in those formative years, when you're likely to become a narc, I became an anti-narc. I became the exact opposite of what a narcissist is. And apparently the other thing that happens is, you gravitate toward narcissists. So all of you guys, mgtow, I'd say most of us are anti-narc, or whatever it is we are, but we're the opposite of narc. We're attracted to narcs, attracted to us, okay, and we just cop shit the whole time. So a lot of this would have to do with our psychological makeup, our chemistry. It's kind of not our fault. It's just that we've like this beacon that attracts, narcs, and you get one after the next until the point where you think, "Oh, I've had enough. I've got to walk away," which is what we're doing. I just can't stand it anymore. Had enough, I'd say, is a fair way to put it. And I read all of your comments, all of your stories, and a lot of you complain about, she dumps and goes to the next guy. Yeah, that's a narc. They're not going to leave themselves alone. Like, you're quite happy. You think, if it falls over, your relationship falls over, you're on your own again. Yeah, no, narc won't. No, they'll either have another guy in tow, or it'll take them about an hour to find one. And I don't think they particularly care who or what it is, just so long as there's somebody there. So, when you're sort of factoring in all of this, think about this, because this is actually what's happening, and this is what the vids say. Yeah, they just can't stand being alone. So you'll meet these women that'll go from one boyfriend, never ever without a boyfriend or a husband. Always there. Yeah, you leave, next bloke comes in, replaced immediately. And it's not only men. You know, it could be your children. It could be your children. You're replaced by your own children. That happens too. That's the that's the one thing that nobody ever thinks about. There's always the third party is always a problem, isn't it? Well, it's not really, but the third party could be one or more of your own children, and so you end up in that. So she is never alone. Never. But what happens? Like, there are more and more of us withdrawing. I'm surprised how many. Everybody says, mgtow's growing. I meet people regularly. So, just a men's group, and I actually have to explain to them, it's mgtow. It's what? Yeah, mgtow. Yeah, and then I have to spell it for them. And what's that? Well, what you're doing, you're having a meeting in a hall. Yeah, it's mgtow. Men going their own way. Oh, I have to look at that. This is actually what's happening. And it's growing. It's just more and more and more and more men just saying they've had enough. They don't want it anymore. And look, I don't know what percentage of the population we are, but I reckon eventually we'll get to a point where we'll make a difference, where we will be missed. And what happens then? Okay, the narc, if, like, we don't care, we can be alone. I don't mind being alone. I'd get in bed, if I had good company, or even a family or something like that, but not that shit. No, I don't want that. So I'd rather be alone. It's better for me, healthier. I live longer. I have a better chance of happiness. Okay, if I'm in a narcissist, with a narcissist, I'm my life is miserable. Okay. So what happens when we move and we're out? Well, eventually, it's just mathematics, isn't it? They're going to have to turn around to their own. They're going to be narc against narc, or narc with narc. And so, the thing about narcs is, they like to control and they like to fight. So, all they're going to do is fighting with one another. And they're not going to like that at all, are they? And so, instead of put up with it and tolerate it like we've done for years and years and years, your fellow, the other narc, piss off. It'll just be meh, scratch, 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 and they'll disappear. True force loneliness. That's probably what true force loneliness really is. I know it's not meant to, I'm just joking, but it could be true force loneliness. That's a good way of thinking about it. But that's what's going to happen. What else do you think is going to happen? Do you think suddenly they're going to get on with other narcs? Nah. And you got to, when all you do is fight, and you're used to, attacking and attacking us, more us, and we sit there and we take it, and we take it, and we take it, and we take it, and we're saying, no, we're not taking it anymore. We've lost, and left. Yeah, so go and fight with somebody else. And narcs aren't going to put up with one another. So eventually, they'll be sitting there alone. Actually, there was a comment the other day, and I got from a guy, and he said, "Oh, my wife is lonely. Ex-wife is lonely." And I thought, it got me a little bit. Oh, poor thing. No. I pulled myself up quick smart, and I wondered whether she had told him that or whether he'd heard it on the grapevine. But it was sort of a clue, and I thought, it's starting to happen already. That's the first comment of all the comments I've had. That's that one of the guys that said, my ex-wife is lonely. I thought, I bet that's the first of a lot. Yeah, because it's just the logic of it. We've gone, so they can't dig their claws into us. So all they can do is turn to other narcs, because they've got to have company, one way or another. So they turn to other narcs and, getting a real cat fight there. So now they're finding themselves sitting at home alone, watching TV on their own. And they're starting to think, oh my God, what's going on here? Because I don't want anything to do with them, you don't want anything to do with them. Other narcs don't want anything to do with them. Yeah. So that's where we're up to with it. it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I'm on the lookout for any clues as to loneliness, particularly from them, not from us, from them, from women that finally just can't. They've just run out of people contacts because more and more coming out of the system. Quite happy to be by ourselves. So what do they do? I mean, that's just how it's going to be for them. And I imagine I watch the videos about the Japanese women. It's you should watch a few actually. They go to these parties. The Japanese government sort of sponsors all of these companies that are matchmakers, and the matchmaker's job is to get couples together because they're trying to promote marriage again. And the women, they go to these parties, midweek parties, and they'll chat with all the guys. All these Japanese guys go there probably for the free food and the drinks, get together, and then look. I'll be honest. It's in a way it's sad, but it's that's what's happening, and that's what's and until they realise that that's what's happening, nothing will change. But these women just go time after time, party after party, and they exchange numbers and all that sort of thing, and they say, yeah, the guys never call. Yeah, they plug it in their phone, and that's it. That's the last they ever see of them. And it's. I think the Japanese government is spending $30 million a year on trying to promote relationships and marriage. And it makes sense. I mean, the country is suiciding itself. Their population, they know it. They can see it. Marriage is dwindling. I've been trying to find out what there actually other measures are doing. What other things they're trying to do, and I can't find much on it. It seems to be a pretty. There's quite a few vids there. I have to go through them, but there's plenty about Herbivore Man. But I'm sort of more interested to see what the Japanese government's response to it is, because I imagine further down the track it'll be what the Western government's response will be. And I think it's going to happen. But apart from anything else, it's women are just going to eventually they're just going to say, oh, this is no good. We're just too lonely. And if you look at them, they'll talk about these dolls and stuff, men having dolls. They just don't want to know about it at all. And I mean, why would they? They've been replaced by a piece of plastic. And they just don't want to know. But see, the whole thing is that you'll actually adapt. You'll find a way to live. I have. Over time I've become, I've knocked off my alcohol consumption. I'm more productive. I'm happier. I've said this over and over again. And that's what will happen to you as well. And you'll just grow within yourself and get better. Yeah, you get sex occasionally when you want it. Yeah, that's not a problem. You don't need it anyway. But women want something else. They want they want a relationship, an affection, all that sort of thing. They're not going to get it. They had their chance, they blew it, they're not going to get it back. I mean, they may do eventually. But gee, I tell you what, there want to be a lot of changes, a whole change of attitude, generally. Because we're not going back. Nobody is. Right, few will, they'll try it, they'll be back here again. It's going to take a lot more. I mean, essentially, we're sort of on strike. Really, I mean, that's what we're doing. We're really putting our foot down, saying, yeah, enough's enough. We've had enough. Yeah, we don't believe you anymore. Yeah, we've put up with this for years, and we no longer believe you. It's enough's enough. I think it's about the only way to put it, really. But anyway, look, it's been good talking to you, and I'll talk to you again shortly. Bye.